Hello and welcome back to Photo Walkthrough. Today I'm going to be taking a look at an iPad app, and I think this is the very first time I've ever looked at an iPad app on Photo Walkthrough, and I'll tell you why that is. It's because until now I haven't found any iPad apps really that were actually of a sort of a professional standard, or at least professional enough for people that really care about the quality of their images and the control that they can have over editing them. Now there are a couple of apps coming out on the iPad now that really are good enough. It feels like the iPad has matured enough that people are starting to make apps that really do give us the sort of level of control we need. And who better to do that than Nik Software, the creators of the very well-known Viveza, Color Effects, Silver Effects. These are brilliant Photoshop plugins that have got deservedly a very good name. Now they've produced an app for the iPad called Snapseed, which I'm hopeful uses a lot of the same technologies that they've used on the desktop and brings them to the iPad for us. And of course, because it's an app in the App Store, it's dirt cheap. It's only a couple of bucks, I don't know, $5, something like that. Sufficiently little that I didn't even think about it. I just bought it when I saw who'd written it. So let's jump in and take a look at an image. This is a photograph I shot while I was out walking during the winter a few months back, and as you can see, the ground is very frosty. We've got lovely colours in the sky. This is just shot round near where I live. But we've got this tree that's very silhouetted, and I really wanted to bring out some of the texture on that tree. So we've got 2 pages worth of effects here that we can use. We've got some dramatic effects there, and we've also got some basic controls here that give us sort of brightness and contrast and things like that. We've got a crop tool down here, we've got a straighten and rotate tool. So I'm going to start by taking a look at the tune image control here. So let's click this. And when you first come into the application, it actually shows you a little help page here, so you can see swiping up and down selects the enhancement we want to make, and swiping left and right adjusts the enhancement. Now it's not going to show you that every time. It's not showing me because I've been in before, but if I drag up and down, you can see we've got here brightness, ambience, contrast, saturation and white balance. Now in my case I want a bit more brightness on the tree, so I'm going to use the ambience slider, which is like a local contrast enhancement, and if I drag that up to the right, all the way to the right, you can see it's bringing some light in on the tree. It's starting to push the contrast up in the rest of the image. We are getting a little bit of a halo along the side of the tree there. This is a local contrast enhancement, so it's basically like a sharpen. We're generating a mask by blurring a version of the image and deciding what's bright and dark and where to lighten and darken based on that. So you do get, like with an unsharp mask, some halos if you're not careful. So I don't want to do too much of that, and I'm going to go to brightness now and go a little bit of the rest of the way with brightness. We've also got control over contrast. I think in this case we could stand to push the contrast down a little, which gives us more latitude to do even more brightness. And I wanted this to look cold, so I'm going to go down to white balance, and if you look along the bottom here, we've got positions on the slider for red, green and blue tones, with cloudy, daylight, strip lighting and flash. So I can drag this to wherever I like on the image, and we can actually use this to sort of recolor the image if we want to, down in the reds look. In this case what I want to do is just take that warmth out of the tree. So I'm going just a little bit towards the cloudy end, just taking a little bit of the warmth out, and what I'm going to do, having done that, is now push the saturation up just a little to bring out the blues and oranges in the sky that I wanted to contrast with the lack of warmth in the ground and the tree. So we've got a lot of control here, and that's just in the very basic controls. So now if I wanted to apply these changes, I need to click the apply button. If I just press the back button now, like that, those changes are lost. They go away. So something to be aware of there. It could almost do with an "Are you sure?" box, but I'm not a big fan of "Are you sures?" But it is possible to accidentally lose your edits there. Let me just show you another effect that we can use through Snapseed, because this is really neat. This is the Selective Adjust feature, and this is based, I believe, on the U-Point technology that they use in their desktop software. And what you've got is you've got an add button. So if I click the add button and then click on the tree, you can see it gives us a little zoom in, so I can choose exactly where I want the dot to go. Now that dot there, I can change the size of the mask it's making by doing a pinch gesture on the screen. So you can see that there's a circle getting larger and smaller, and the red area is the mask that we're making. So it's basing that mask on the size of the circle and the position of the dot. So the colours that the dot goes over are helping it decide what the mask should include and what it should exclude. Now that we've got that mask made, I can drag up and down to choose between brightness, contrast and saturation, and in this case I'm going to choose brightness, and I'm going to increase the brightness on that tree. So that has just very specifically increased brightness in that area. If I wanted another dot up here, I can press the add button, click another dot up here, make another mask, and I can do a bit more brightening up here as well if I want. Not so effective. There isn't actually much information in this image at that point, but you can see how this would work. If I wanted to deepen the sky, click the add button, click a dot on the sky, make sure the mask is getting the area I wanted, and maybe up here I'll do a saturation boost, so I can boost the blue in that sky. Maybe that was too much. And maybe I could do a little contrast enhancement to try and bring out those bits of cloud there. So lots and lots of options there for very specific control over your image. Before we finish, I'm going to apply that change, and that just takes a moment to actually make a proper version of that. If we now go over to the special effects page, we've got a black and white plugin, which of course you'd expect this to be good with Nik's effect with silver effects, Nik's heritage with silver effects. And this page has actually got a little style button which lets us choose from some sort of pre-chosen styles, and this is going to let us pick which of these styles best suits our image. And in this case I want the detail on the tree there, so I'm going to go for style 1, and I'm going to push the brightness up a little. But we've also got in here a contrast, which quite often for black and white images you want more contrast, and we've also got a grain slider, and if you like grainy images you're going to love this. Look at all the grain I can put in there. I can really give this a very grungy style. But instead of doing that, I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you the grunge filter, which gives us a control point so we can say where we want the focus to be on this image. So in this case, let's say I want the focus to be on this sort of wriggly branch here. I can actually increase or decrease the size of that focus point, and I want it quite large. And then we've got, if we drag up and down, the things we control are style, brightness, contrast, texture strength, so I can increase or decrease the amount of texture that we're adding into this image. And we've also got a saturation, so I can bring in a bit of the orange of the sky and a bit of the blue. And I think what I might do is just reduce that texture strength a shade, and then I'm going to just reduce the brightness a shade. And I think that's a very effective image, so I'm going to say apply that. Again, that just takes a moment. And we've also got a framing option here, so we've got the ability to change the frame width, if you look down the edges there, and also the frame offset, so I can drag the frame in a little bit, and I can change how wide I want that frame to be. And we've got a frame randomizing button here, which if I press the random button is going to change the style around the edge. Now this is really my only complaint with this software. There are 2 or 3 places in the application where you're choosing textures or frames by pressing a randomize button, and I don't want a randomize button. I want a button that lets me choose specifically which frame I want to use or which texture I want to use, because you know, if you've got a random button, you keep pressing it hoping that you're going to get something better, and you know, you end up forgetting what it was you liked and what it was you didn't. So it's much more controllable if I can pick them one at a time and choose the one I specifically want. So having chosen that, I like the final version of that image there. I'm going to let that process out. First thing I'm going to do before I do anything else is save it to my camera roll. There's a button for that just here. And maybe I want to share this on the internet as well, so I've got a share button, and I can choose to email it, print it, send it to Flickr or Facebook. In my case, I think I'll send it to Flickr. I'll leave that to public, and I'll just click publish, and bang, that goes up to Flickr all by itself. So overall, I am very, very impressed with Snapseed. It shouldn't be a big feature point, but it is. It doesn't crash. It hasn't crashed on me at all. Lots and lots of other photo apps have. And best of all, it does give me excellent control with some very, very high quality filter effects. So if you like messing with your images, making them look wild and crazy, if you want to do way out effects, it can do that. Or if you just want to take specific control and maybe brighten an area or increase contrast here or there, you've got that level of control too. It's a very good app, it's very, very controllable, and it's very, very cheap. So if you haven't already got it, head on off to the App Store and pick up Snapseed from Nik Software. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye bye. Okay, that's us done for another week, but before you go, we've got a mini competition for you. Last week we did a review of an app for the Mac called Flare, and the guys that make the software were so pleased with the review that they've given me 3 codes to give away for free copies of Flare on the Mac App Store. So if you'd like to win a code for a free copy of Flare, all you got to do is go to the PhotoWalkthrough website, find a link to one of the shows of ours that you like, so it could be this one, or it could be the episode for the Flare review. Get that link, tweet it out with a little bit of wording to say what it is so that people know what you're telling them about, and include the hashtag PWFlare, PWFLARE. Include that hashtag in your tweet, including a link to the Photo Walkthrough show, and I will look for the first 3 people to do that, and I will send those people that do that a code to get a free copy of Flare on the Mac App Store. There's only 3 codes to give away, so you're going to have to be quick, and apologies to anybody that comes after that. So please, tweet out a link to a Photo Walkthrough show, get yourself a free copy of Flare. Okay, we're all done. What do you think of the new digs, by the way? We've got new logos all over the place. We've got new opening credits. We've got new transitions. I'm using the logo to the max, and I've redone the website. I hope you like the new look of the site and of the show. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Photo Walkthrough is a free online video show about photography and digital photo editing using Photoshop and Lightroom. Please help support the show by using our sponsors' promo codes or by passing the promo codes on to your friends. Join the Photo Walkthrough community, find all the old shows, and subscribe to the new ones for free at photowalkthrough.com.